Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Sorcery. Previously, we made some new friends, one in Flanker the Assassin, who, yes, did try to take my life, but he seems an honorable sort, and we spared his life, and he's gonna meet up with us later. And then Jan, the Minimite, who, is no longer with us. Poor thing. And then we saved an orc princess from a cave demon, and then we became a village hero. But now the time has come. You take your leave. The path winds away from Torapani, and soon you're on a downward slope, away from the Shamutanti Hills, through stepped rice fields. As you walk, you feel for the first time the loneliness of the path ahead. Though Kare is a busy city, it is cruel, and beyond Kare, there is nothing but the vicious wasteland. You will have no one to trust in the days ahead. Walk on. For a brief moment, up on the hills above the path, you fancy you see a figure stealing its way along by some high and secret route. A figure all in black. But when you shade your eyes against the sun, whatever was there has disappeared. In the distance rises the wall of the great city, the first true stonework you have seen since the ruins of the giant city in the hills. Let us go to Kare. Your journey through the Shamutanti Hills is completed. Along the way, you have gained the friendship of Flanker the Assassin and have been given the key to the gates of Kare. You have collected a few magical artifacts, a cloth skullcap, and 3 giant's teeth. You are armed with a lawn sword and your original sword, and have 2 rations and 46 gold pieces, and a spellbook. The adventure continues in Sorcery 2, Kare, City Ports of Traps, out now. Yeah, let's save to Cloud. My Cloud save spell name, Focne. Now, if anyone were to load up Sorcery 2, Kare City Port of Traps, and they entered this 5-letter spell at the beginning of the game, they would have my save file. They would begin Chapter 2 exactly where I left off. So, wink wink if you're into this sort of thing. Continue. The crown of kings has been stolen by the Archmage and taken across the backlands to Mampang. You have been sent to get it back. Should you fail, the whole of Kakabad will surely fall. A journey began. From the outpost settlement in Analand, you crossed the Shamutanti Hills. Along the way, you spared the life of a defeated assassin, traveled with a Minimite who almost cost you your life, and fought and killed the dreaded Manticore. You faced cruel twists of fate and deadly traps. A test of character. To survive, you used your blade often, and your intelligence frequently. You deceived, charmed, and tricked your way through. Your spirit guide changed as you changed, becoming the ape. But now, all of that seems a distant memory, for you are approaching Kare, the city port of traps. Founded on the ford of the Jabaji River, Kare was once a camp for the pirates who ambushed merchants sailing from Lake Lunlei to the sea. Where the camp grew, it became a village, the village became a town, and now Kare is a magnet for ne'er-do-wells and thieves, ruled over by a council of villains. Let the city do its worst. It is a place of treachery and traps. You will have to be constantly on your guard as you cross. Your goal is the North Gate, the only entrance to the Backlands and the next stage of your journey. If your quest is to succeed, you must enter the city port of traps and make it out alive. Inkle presents Steve Jackson's Sorcery. Part 2. Carre, the city port of traps. Right. Well, let us take a look at the map. So here's the south gate. The Sven chieftain gave me the key to open it, so that's nice. And oh my god, look at all this content. Alright, so our goal is the north gate, of course. But in terms of what I got to when I played this on my own, I think I got somewhere just around here in this early bit here. Like the first fourth of the game. The first fourth of part 2, really. And then I called it quits and I decided I wanted to let's play. So most of this... Yeah, it's Yeah, it's gonna be brand new, so let's get going. Twilight already. The great city of Carre has loomed large on the horizon all day, but has been slow to reach, the path tracing great loops back and forth through a deep and narrow pass. Walk on. You have not seen a living soul except once, when a dark figure raced across the hilltops overhead and then was lost from view. I bet that's Flanker. So you are naturally cautious when you round a bend in the path and see a beggar crouched low against a rock, muttering to himself. The beggar. You stop, out of sight behind an outcrop, but the beggar does not look like much of a threat. Approach him. You call a greeting and stride over, and the man leaps to his feet, drawing a short stick from inside his cloak. Who goes there? He demands. What's your business in Carre? I am a traveler. The man pokes his stick at you. A traveler? Traveling where? The Backlands. The Backlands! He looks quite surprised. And what is in the Backlands? He prods harder. Answer me, or you'll face consequences. Who are you? You're certainly very brave. The man beams with aging pride. I am the city guard. No one enters Carre except through me. And then, despite his age and clear ill health, he comes at you waving his stick. I won't fight you. You tell him, you are unarmed. He waves the stick close to your face, jabbing a few times, but you push the point aside with one hand. All right then, he declares, we'll settle this fairly. He tosses the stick to one side and raises his fists. The knuckles are blackened with scabs. Oh, this dude's amazing. How has he survived this long? I still won't fight you. I mean it. The beggar makes a short braying noise, like a laugh, and then lamps you on the nose. It is surprisingly painful, and he is readying for another swing. Step away. You step back, and with that the fight seems to drain from him. He sits down again, suddenly sad. Very well, he moans. You're right, I suppose. I can't defend the city on my own. You'll get yourself killed, dude. Oh no, he replies. That's exactly what won't happen. If that was my fate, it would have happened a long time ago. He shivers. You don't have any food, do you? He asks sadly. All right, I do. And because we're entering a city with 46 gold, I probably won't have any trouble buying more provisions, so give him something to eat. I'm feeling charitable. You rummage in your pack and pull out a hunk of bread and cheese. Here. The man grabs it and eats gleefully, like a wild dog. He murmurs and grumbles to himself as he does so. Come with me. Party member! You take pity on the man. Come with me. I'm going into Carre. The soldier considers your offer for a moment as he chews. You're sure? I know the word for the wall. But they will not want to let me through the gate. Well, I have the key for the wall. Do we need both? Sounds like we can help each other. He clambers slowly to his feet. A gleam of hope has entered the poor man's eyes. Very well then, stranger, a trade. Party member again. The beggar walks a few strides ahead, the ghost of a military pace in his step. So what's your name? Captain Thomas of the 4th Legion, responsible for the southern perimeter, my lady. He knocks his bony heels together. At your service. What are you doing out here, soldier? We were sent out to investigate sightings, a whole legion of us, back when the council felt bold. But then they locked the gate and wouldn't let us back. Sightings of what? The goblins. There are goblins in the rocks. What are the goblins doing? He shakes his head. I don't know. They can't get through the walls, but then I think I've heard them digging, scraping at the mud in the night. The path winds through gorse and thick grass. Kare squats in a basin in the hills like a stagnant, festering pool. You turn one corner, then another, and then the stone walls of the city are looming over you. Yeah, didn't Flanker tell us that the goblins are mining for the same ore that made the crown of kings? These goblins sound like trouble. The walls weren't built to keep anything out. They were here before the goblins, Thomas says. They were built to keep people in. Kare is one gigantic trap itself. Why? Are the people inside not happy? Would you be happy, ruled by pirates and thieves? He points. Cast your eyes up. You can see them. Archers. Facing in both directions. You could scramble up the slope to the right to get a better view of the wall. Let's not do any duplicity. Let's just approach the front gate, into the clearing. You step out of the pass into the clearing. An arrow whizzes past your shoulder. You look up to see a guard on top of the wall, who cocks a second arrow onto his bowstring. Who goes there, he bellows, friend or foe? Well, that was clearly a warning shot. Let Thomas answer. On one hand, he's a delusional old man who could say gibberish. On the other, he's ex-military and could say something nice. I will trust in my friend. You wait, and Thomas cries back, friend, and the watchword is Cantopani. Oh, okay. Thomas, you're good people. The guard pauses a moment, then lowers his bow. Approach. Thomas turns and smiles at you. Nice. The south gate stands before you. It is as tall as 2 men and would be broad enough to ride 3 horses through, if only it were open. But instead it is locked and there is no other way into the city. Luckily, of course, you have a key. Over to you, says Thomas, stepping back. Well, I mean, we said the watchword. Wouldn't it be a bit... On the other hand, if we had the watchword and the key, then that would help sell the idea that we're supposed to be here and can get through. Yeah, let's unlock the gate with the chief's key. You quickly remove the spinning chief's key from your pack and slip it into the lock. The tumblers click as the key turns. Thomas hangs back. Good work, but do you think it's safe to go through? Why don't you check, buddy? Thomas bristles. Oh, you want me to go first, is that it? He grumbles for a moment, then nods. Well, no matter. I'm a Karian guard, not a criminal. I'm not afraid. And with that, he slips through the door and dashes away. You hear nothing for a moment, then the sound of shouting voices and feet rushing away. An opportunity going after. Slipping inside, you find the yard deserted. The old soldier has cleared it out for you. You push the great gate closed, key still in the lock. Whoever the next ruffian to visit Kare may be, he will be grateful for your little gift. Right? I hope we can catch up with Thomas through the gate. You pause just inside the shadow of the gate. To your left is a low stone building with metal bars for windows. Try the door to the building. Well, this sounds like a jail. Like bars for windows? That's a jail. Why would I want to enter the jail? But we can take cover. This courtyard does strike me as very open. Duck behind the building. You hurry over to the wall of the building and crouch down, a heartbeat before two soldiers come round the corner. Oh. The building means you're covered, but if they spot you, you will have nowhere to run. Perhaps using magic might give you an advantage. I could cast Howl or Suss to suss out danger. Cast a spell. Yeah, I see S. S-U-S. Sense danger. You cast the spell and a calm voice enters your mind, telling you to keep quiet and stay put. The voice then quickly fades as if afraid to make too much noise in your head. The guards slide open a small panel set into the door and look through for a moment. Then they snap it shut and march away. You straighten up and hear a noise through the barred window of the stone building. A sneeze. Honestly, what use would a prisoner be to me? Time to move on. You hurry away across the yard. A junction. The road leads you away in both directions. You don't have time to consider them too carefully. There will be more guardsmen on patrol soon enough. Right. This strikes me as a very big choice indeed. Oh. So it looks like to the left there might be some sort of chapel or some sort of guardhouse maybe. And this looks like more guard stuff. I'd be, Going left seems like walking into the lion's den, dude. Yeah, no. But to the right, looks like it heads to residential areas, farmland, Festival of Thieves? Alright, let's try this out. Night is falling. Luckily, by the roadside is a small inn, which will make a perfect place to stay before you lose yourself in the winding streets of Kare. Alternatively, you could walk into the fields to the right and sleep out under the stars. From somewhere nearby, you hear a low, baying howl. Oh. If there are dogs out there, let's try the inn. Ooh, interior map. A sign outside the inn proclaims it the Crooked Finger. Look at this. Neat, we can see inside the inn. That's great. Enter. You go inside and find an empty bar. The bartender is snoozing at the counter. Clearly, trade is bad. Sleep outside or approach the bar. Let's wake him up. The bartender wakes with a snortle as you approach. Greetings, traveler, he yawns. You'll be looking for directions to somewhere else, I suppose? I need to eat. No food here, I'm afraid, the innkeeper says. No point, since the rats get it all. But a bed for the night will cost you 7 gold pieces. Oof! Let's absolutely try and haggle that. 7 gold pieces is robbery, you tell him. The innkeeper shrugs. Carre prices might not be what you're used to, he says, but you can sleep in the street if you prefer, and then maybe you'll see why they're as high as they are. Fine, I'll pay. I appreciate the warning. You put 7 gold pieces down on the counter. The innkeeper nods. The stairs are over there. Freaking no food, pricey room. The man shows you upstairs to a room. It seems clean enough. There are no rats on the bed, and the linen seems to have been washed at least once this month. After your long day of walking, the thought of a real bed is a welcome relief. You settle down. Okay, let's eat. I haven't eaten yet today. You eat the last food you have, the nourishing bomba fruit, then settle down to sleep. The sounds of the city drift to you on the night air. Shouts and screams and the occasional distinct howl. You doze fitfully. Your dreams, when they come, are of the wall, like a towering monster drenched in moss and slime. The gate, its wide-open maw. As you watch, it reaches down with fingers made from flagpoles and skewers the old beggar man, lifting him flailing into the air. As you make your way inside, guards appear and disappear from holes in the ground like burrowing moles. It is as though you can see the crown, sitting in the dust on the far side of the north gate, so close and yet out of reach. The next morning, you feel better for the night's rest. Going downstairs, you find the bartender miserably counting coins on the bar. Need anything? He asks, hopefully. Directions. I don't suppose he magically got provisions overnight. The innkeeper laughs. Just follow your nose. Everything in Carre stinks, it'll take you where you need to go. You shake your head at his useless advice and take your leave of the inn. Well, all right. Outside, the air tastes fresh. It has rained a little overnight. A little distance from here, a busy crossroads marks the start of the city. Following the track for a few minutes, you reach a junction where the 3 roads begin. These are the outskirts of Carre. Huts huddle like beggars on either side of the tracks, leading uphill into the city port. Pause to look around. It must be clear to everyone around that you are a stranger in these parts. The city's inhabitants are a multitude of malevolent creatures who would kill you for the laces of your boots, turn to watch you as they pass. You are sport, a figure to be jostled and robbed, and one who will most likely fall prey to the strange, elaborate system of traps laid across Carre by the early settlers to protect themselves from one another. Okay. There are more people here than you've seen in a long time. You cast an eye across the faces to see if any are Flanker, the assassin you met outside Torpani, your only friend in the city. To the left, you see a group of scruffy youngsters walking up the road with packs on their back. Ahead is the main road into the center of Carre, its surface rutted from cart wheels. Further in the distance, you see fields. There is a route taken by supplier wagons to the docks. To the right, the track heads towards fields. A hut stands proud a little further on. The business of this place is confusing, but you will have to simply strike out. The north gate awaits. Just at that moment, a cart rolls down the road from the right and careens around the corner to take the main track ahead. On its back are stacked several crates. One teeters for a moment, then falls near your feet, its lid cracking open. Finders keepers, look in the crate. Kneeling down in the mud, you prise open the crate with your fingers. Inside is a pile of smashed bottles. Thick purple liquid swirls about, littered with shards of glass. There are perhaps 4 bottles still intact, but you recognize the smell. It is Blimberry, a potion with many healing properties. Oh, hell yeah, take them all. You take all of the bottles, wipe them down as best as you can on the grass nearby, and put them into your pack. A lucky find indeed. Blimberry juice will heal you and will also do for a meal. Hell yeah. Right. Oh my, okay, so the left path seems narrow and through residential areas. There is a quite noticeable mansion here, surrounded by walls. And it goes north into Dwarf Town. Why are there little pins here everywhere? Is that a glitch? Maybe these are leftover pins from the previous map. From part 1. Anyway, I think that might be a glitch. I've clearly not been here, ever. So, goes into Dwarf Town, and eventually into the Artist's Quarter. And the straight path is wide, well-traveled, surely devoid of traps. Goes past farmland. It seems there is a route that can go into the mansion if I so desired. Farmland upon more farmland. Beneath Mansion Row. And also into the Artist's Quarter. And then, the turn right path. Weird building here. Farmland. The Festival of Thieves. Tents and streamers? Oh. And this goes up into Mansion Row. I would certainly have to make a more roundabout path to get to Artist's Quarter, but very dense, probably more rich buildings. Oh man, what a maze. Okay, it seems like all paths lead to the docks and a big bridge connecting to the east side of the city. Okay. God, wow. I really have to pick one of these routes, huh? Well, I think like the Festival of Thieves is certainly the most interesting. Let's try that. You head right along the wide track until you reach a large hut. It is the only building on this path that is still standing. Either side are empty plots, once the houses of the farmers who planted the fields to the north. They are now collapsed and thick with gripweed. It seems that here, in the shadow of the city wall, it is not a place people choose to live. By the side of the door to the hut is a sign, delicately painted, Chain Maker. The door is just a crack ajar, and from within you hear a gentle tinkling sound, metal on metal, as though a creature in chainmail dress was endlessly pacing the floor. From somewhere further on comes the falling and rising sound of a crowd. Some kind of event is taking place. There are several places you could go next. Yeah, let's, I could go back to the first junction. Neat. Let's try the Chain Maker. I have some money burning in my pocket. You push open the hut door and enter. It is dark inside. The floor is sawdust and the air smells of oil, polish, and burnt metal. From the ceiling, hanging like ivy, are metal chains of all lengths and thickness, some suitable for machinery, some for oxen, and others for arms and feet. The chains shift and whisper to themselves. There seems to be no one here. There is another room beyond, its doors hanging open. Call out a greeting. Okay, surely the proprietor of this place is working in the back. But we're a customer. Let's just shop around, search the room. No shop owner in Kare should leave their wares unattended. You begin to carefully search the room, trying not to set the chains to rattling. What's closest to me? Look near the door to the shop. Searching around near the door to the shop, you find a copper key. It is carefully stashed into a crack in the wall, as though secret and valuable. It is far too small to be the key to the shop door. You take it and put it in your pack. Oh. Okay. Search along the left wall. Oh. As you move across the room, you stumble clumsily into a chain and it begins to swing, hitting other chains on either side. The far door opens, and a Sven, a man-orc from Torapani, appears, and it looks like he is angry. The chainmaker growls fiercely and snatches up a particularly heavy length of metal, holding it like it was a thread. No, just talk my way out of this. I'm just a customer. I'm not stealing from you, you reply calmly. I called out, but you didn't hear me. I heard nothing, the chainmaker growls suspiciously. Exactly. The chainmaker stops and thinks about this. I understand, he says. All right, so... He halts his approach. You want chains? Yeah? You look around the shop at chain after unremarkable chain, but then one stands out, a short length of silver, which seems to move more energetically than those swaying on either side. The chainmaker nods. Good chain, he says. Magic chain. What does it do? Magic, the stubborn creature replies. Okay. How much does it cost? He sizes you up, thinking you must be wealthy. It's 5 gold pieces. Dude, this sounds like a magic rope. And magic rope is the coolest thing ever. I'll buy it. You hand over the 5 gold pieces he wants, happy that 3 of those 5 pieces are his anyway. Wait. I didn't find 2 gold, though. Did I? You shake the chainmaker's hand and take the key. It is clearly enchanted. The ends seem to snap and bite at one another like amorous snakes. Good for taking out their knees, the chainmaker explains. You head out of the shop. Huh. All right. Walk on. You continue along the road. The land rises gently, a thin, meager scrub broken by rocky outcrops like teeth through an infant's gum. Goats roam the slopes, paranoid, shifty creatures who flee at the sound of your footsteps. Suddenly, you could be back in the fields outside Kristatanti. This part of the city port is barely habited, so should be safe enough to pass through quickly. Your stomach rumbles with hunger, but you have no more food. You continue walking along the track and begin to hear the sound of a large crowd up ahead. There is some sort of market or fair happening further on, near the river. You pass the dirt track on the left that leads away across the fields. Yeah, it looks like... Oh, wow. I could skirt up through this narrow path here. Damn, but... No, let's try the crowd. You continue along the road towards the noise. After a few minutes, you are walking between tall poles and rippling-colored flags. People and creatures sprawl across the path, with several tents have been erected, their poles joined together by more flags. You ease your way into the edge of the gathered crowd. It all looks good-spirited and fun, and with so many people here, perhaps you will pick up useful information. Let's have a listen. You mill through the crowd, keeping your ears open for anything interesting, but most people in the center of the field are arguing over where to go next, or lamenting how many gold pieces they have spent. You might do better to have a closer look at something. Alright? You walk to the south end of the fairground midway. A boy with a barrel stands off to one side, and a dull-looking tent stands near the river. There are more exciting stalls further north. Talk to Barrel Boy or the small tent? Well, I'm interested in merchants. I feel like the tent would be a better pick. You approach the small tent. By the door, a young elven woman is collecting the entrance fee. 1 gold piece, she declares, winking at you. What's inside? Marco the Muser, she replies, still smiling and winking. Perhaps there's something wrong with her other eye. He's very funny. 1 gold piece. It just sounds like a comedy show. Keep my money, leave. No offense intended, you reply politely, and step away into the fair. The fair spreads out all around you, a collection of booths and rings and tents and stalls. Hawkers announce the various attractions at the top of their lungs. The general atmosphere is cheerful, with just a hint of violence. Barrel boy? You approach a boy standing by a barrel and looking sheepish. What are you selling? The boy points into his barrel but doesn't answer. Look in the barrel. You peer into the barrel. It is full of small, hard apples. Most are blackened by disease or else are shot through with maggot holes. Your apples are all rotten. The boy shakes his head, then picks one up from the barrel. He squeezes it hard in his fist, but nothing happens. Then he drops it sharply back into the bucket. Are they not for eating? I'll just leave him. You turn your back on the boy and head back to the midway. From across the field comes a murmur of excitement. Then quite suddenly, a small tornado lifts the tent sharply up into the air and away. The hell? Get a better view of that. You push your way through the crowds to the very heart of the fair and look around at the attractions on offer. Let's see. Beer tent. Dancing bear. The top of the midway. Let's try the beer tent. Just by the river is a low tent surrounded by several stumbling figures. It could almost be a tent for dancing except for the strong smell of brewed grain that drifts over the air. In the stall, a group of 3 half-goblin women are pouring mugs of beer and talking to the locals. A sign reads, 1 mug, 1 gold. 4 mugs, 6 gold. Talk to the bartender. You elbow your way to the bar and wave to attract the attention of one of the women. Greetings, she smiles. What can I do for you? Why are 4 mugs so expensive? Isn't it cheaper to buy 4 separately? Oh no, the woman replies, smiling sweetly. It's a special offer, you see. 4 mugs for 6 gold pieces. But that's more than buying separately. Oh, the goblin lady replies, I see your mistake. It's a common one. We should fix the sign. But she doesn't explain. She quickly disappears to serve another customer. A tall, spindly creature raises his voice to announce he is buying 4 mugs. A huge cheer goes up, but mostly from the woman behind the bar. We'll buy 1 mug. Paying a gold piece, you buy a frothing mug of beer. The ale looks muddy and somewhat disgusting. In fact, it doesn't taste like beer at all. This isn't beer. Excuse me, you call to the bartender, who must be getting quite tired of talking to you by now. What is this? You point into the mug. Finest beer, she replies, but from her expression, she isn't telling the whole truth. This is like no beer I've tasted. You reply outraged, but the barwoman merely smiles. Why, thank you, my lady, she answers, then moves away to serve another customer. You leave your beer half-finished and walk away from the tent. Look back. Looking back, you notice a pipe running from the tent directly into the Jabaji River. It seems the beer isn't beer after all. Oh. From somewhere nearby, you catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure disappearing behind a tent. Something about the way it moves is familiar. I think I was just drinking river water. Follow the figure. I think that was Flanker. You push through the crowd, following the dark figure into a narrow gap. Cautiously you enter the narrow space, and suddenly there is a hand at your throat. I will kill you, breathes a voice you recognize. Laugh with pleasure. You laugh with delight. It's Flanker, the assassin whose life you spared before you reached Torpani. Greetings, you declare enthusiastically. Flanker nods. He does not smile, but he seems pleased to see you. Aha, my friend and enemy. I see, like myself, you also enjoy the fun of the Festival of Thieves. And you look as hale as the moment you left me. Your journey has been uneventful so far, I trust. And how have you fared in Kare? The city is full of devils. Well, I'll just say, well, so far. Indeed, so far, Flanker laughs. Quite so, as you have not had to face the portal traps. They will take your smile and move it to your throat, as we assassins say. Portal traps? Flanker laughs. Do not fear, you have not missed out. You have only survived this far because all the traps are on the other side of the river. Ooh! He pauses to glance around him as if he is waiting for something, but if so, he does not see it. I have a few minutes, he says. Tell me of your quest. How goes it? The journey is long, but I am unbowed. Good, he nods. I am glad you are still no coward. To be defeated is a shame, but to be defeated by a creature without a spine is a torture. Oh, this dude's cool. Tell me about these portal traps. How can I identify them? It sounds like something worth knowing. The portal traps were laid by the early rulers of Kare, Flanker replies. Only the first noble has the power to position them and to disguise them, for portal traps can disguise themselves in plain sight. How can one avoid them? One must be wary and avoid things which seem out of place. A portal trap will always be too clean, too free of dirt and insects, like something dropped into this world from another. And further, they are always the same shape. With one finger, Flanker draws a perfect circle in the air. Oh wow, that is cool. Alright, so do not step into circles which are too clean and ordinary. Okay. How can I reach the North Gate? Then you know about the spell lines, of course. You shake your head. Flanker laughs darkly. Then learn, the North Gate is wizard-locked and requires a spell of 4 lines to open it. Without the lines, you will never leave this city. Who knows the lines? The first noble knows the spell, and handed 1 line each to 4 of his nobles. But the council is in turmoil, and most of the nobles are dead or driven mad or hounded to their graves. Help! I do not know any of the lines myself, he says sadly. He nods finally. But I must be away. Perhaps I will see you again later. I will be drinking at the Wayfarer's Rest tonight in the docks. Join me if you will. You nod to Flanker and return to the main throng of the fair. From across the field, the dancing bear seems to have run amok. Certainly the crowd around the dwarf is shouting and fighting. The event seems to be closed. Nice. Found clues. So, do I have clues in my items? Hello? Other items. I still have my giant net. Oh, clues, I see. 4 nobles know the spells. The first noble knows all. Portal traps are circular. Alright. Right, okay. Well, it looks like I need to seek nobles, in which case, maybe I should stop by this mansion. Ooh. Okay, let's go to the top of the midway. You walk to the north end of the fairground midway. The fair continues from here, and a road leads away uphill. Let's see. Musicians, bare knuckle fighting. The end of the fair, leave the fair. Bare knuckle fighting. Maybe I could place a bet, get some coin. You cross the fairground to a wrestling ring. A ruffian inside is announcing the current challenge. People of Kare, are you ready for a fight? In the white corner we have our challenger, Anvar the Barbarian. Wow. The crowd cheers and whoops. Ask someone about the fight. You attract the attention of a nearby member of the crowd. Tell me, you ask, what are the rules of the fight? No rules, giggles the man in reply. That's what makes it so entertaining. No weapons, another man puts in. That's the only rule. And in the black corner, the brawling champion of Kare, the one they call Skull Splitter, the Ogre Kago of Darule. And who can challenge? The man shrugs. Anyone crazy enough to want to get their head smashed in? Challenger, are you ready? Demands the ruffian. Anvar nods and beats his chest. Anvar is about half as tall as you again, with sheets of muscle on his arms and legs, but he is probably lighter than the ogre, which will mean he has less momentum. On the platform, the ruffian turns to the ogre. Champion, are you ready? The beast appears not to understand the question, but scratches his armpit. The ruffian nods. Place a bet. You find a wager man by looking for his enormous hat, to which odds and returns are pinned on bits of cloth. Feeling lucky, are you? He chuckles with evident glee. His palms are sweating, and you notice he carries flick blades inside his sleeves. Place your money on me. Bet on the Barbarian. Maximum bet is 3 gold pieces. Good odds, though. 1 to 3 against. Yeah, okay. You hand over 3 gold pieces, and the bookkeeper makes a mark on his hat for the bet. Meanwhile, in the ring, the fight has begun. The barbarian in the white corner growls and beats his chest. The ogre raises his fist into the air and shakes them. Cast a spell. If I could cast a hex of clumsiness on the ogre, that would be great. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I see it. D. Oh. I thought there would be U for dumb. Doze. Cause slowness. I could do that, surely. Let's see. D-O-P. Open locks and doors. No. T. Well, no. T-E-L. Read minds. I certainly could do that, but what? How does that rig the game for me? No. S-A-P. Cause depression. You know what? If I can make the ogre not have his heart in it, that'd be amazing. Yeah, let's try it. You ready the spell? Cast it over the ogre. You cast the enchantment over the ogre, who begins to look thoroughly miserable. You have given Anvar a much-needed boost. The slow-moving ogre roars with rage and struggles forward against the barbarian, landing a mighty blow. Anvar is looking good. Shout for the barbarian. You shout, "Finish him!" to the barbarian, who bellows with anger. The barbarian beats his chest and pounds the ogre heavily about the head. Anvar's agility is helping him take the fight. Then the ogre puts in a devastating side swipe. Ooh. The barbarian staggers suddenly, the crowd gasps, but then he picks himself up once more. I think he might need more help. Ooh, okay. Cast another spell. This is sapping my stamina, but... It was D-O-Z. Cause slowness in the ogre. You cast a spell over the ogre, and the balance of the fight begins to change. Suddenly, the ogre looks dizzy and slow and cannot seem to grip his opponent properly. The ogre's lip has split and is bleeding. Anvar is winning! You holler at the barbarian, but it's not clear that it does any good. Growling and muttering, the ogre works into the barbarian, cracking his skull. Oh, Anvar's looking stronger than ever. Wait and watch. You hang back and watch. Finally, it is all over. With a single throw, Anvar the Barbarian powers forward and hurls Skull Splitter to the mat. The crowd go wild. You find the bookkeeper to collect your winnings. You got lucky, sulks the bookkeeper. He hands over 12 good pieces. Inside the ring, the master of the fight raises the barbarian's fist into the air. Who challenges our champion? The prize is 10 gold pieces. All right. Take up the challenge. I challenge him, you cry. All eyes turn to look at you. The fight master beams. We have a stranger taking the challenge, he declares. Let her through. Into the ring. I didn't hear no bell. The crowd parts and you are helped up into the ring. Under his breath, the fight master outlines the rules. A fair fight, no magic, and pound your opponent until they can't stand. Ready, he asks. Look over the barbarian. You look over your opponent. He is almost half as tall as you again, with muscles on his chest and arms like sculpted wax. In the black corner, then, the ruffian announces, is Anvar. In the white corner, the ruffian turns to you and hisses, What should I call you? The Analander, you declare, shouting to it so the crowd can hear. They catch the name and throw it up into the sky. The Analander, they cheer. The crowd begins to furiously place bets. You can hear them discussing your relative merits. She looks feeble, looks like a maniac to me. You ready your fists. Right. In a fist fight, damage is lower and power refreshes more quickly. Right. It looks like, well, block, jab, clout, bash, thump, punch, pulverize. I feel like this guy might be going for a heavy hit first off. So let's try a solid 7.7. The barbarian raises his fists into the air and roars. The crowd roars in return. The bell rings and you charge forward, bellowing, For Analand! Anvar charges straight back at you. You meet in a heavy collision of bodies and everyone in the crowd is surprised when Anvar falls back onto the mat and you emerge still standing. Press the advantage. 5.2. I beat him by 1? Wow! You strike again. Moving swiftly, you aim for his midriff. The barbarian is wide open, arms raised, and cannot defend himself. He is holding back. Someone in the crowd is shouting advice. Body blow time. Okay, I was going to defend anyway because my stamina is kaput. You drop into defensive crouch. The barbarian tries a weak punch, but you duck out of the way. Alright. Go for a 6 point, just flat 6. This guy is all offense. Readying a forceful blow, you hurtle forwards as the barbarian swings for your head. Anvar staggers suddenly, crashing into the ropes at the side of the ring. A gasp goes up from the crowd. Finish him! Oh, not quite. You lunge forwards again, preparing a heavy swing. You charge for your opponent. The barbarian blocks your blow. Anvar grunts with frustration as he turns about twice and hits the mat. For a moment, you even think he might stay down, but, shaking his stupid head, he picks himself up to his feet once more. Defend. Yeah, I couldn't match that power there. You drop back defensively. Your suspicion is well founded. A moment later, the barbarian stomps forward with all his weight, knocking you back across the ring. He steps backwards across the ring, putting space between you. Finish him. Mustering a lumberjack blow, you lunge at the barbarian. Anvar staggers back, gasping, his face a mess of blood and bruises. Summoning the last ounce of strength in your arms, you ready a final knockout punch that sends him back across the mat and out of the ring. 2 stamina lost. Brilliant boxing. Continue. You stagger from the ring, the crowd cheering for you, and you collect your winnings. Nice. Alright, well, what's at the end of the fair? You push your way through the crowd, following the road uphill. The party is getting wilder, and you would do well to be away from here before things get out of hand. At the far edge of the fair, the litter has left a tide mark on the grass. There is one last small tent here, probably a ticket booth that has simply been ignored by the crowds of Kare. What is the small tent? Looking more closely, you spot a sign above the door. Cabinet of Fortune, try your luck, a prize for all. Huh. Looking back, you see what looks like one of the tents going up in flames. It must be part of the entertainment, as no one seems too concerned. In fact, a great cheer goes up as one of the strings of flags collapses into the bonfire. Okay. You have time to test your luck, no doubt, if you want it. Alright, the Cabinet of Fortune. You go over to the tent and push back the flap. Inside, a grubby, bearded man leaps up from where he was sitting cross-legged on the floor and comes over to pump your hand. Neat. Is that a Minimite inside? Welcome, welcome, my friend, he exclaims, somewhat over-enthusiastically. And let's see what prize you can win today. You must know this. There are no losers at Honest Hannah's Cabinet of Fortune. He gestures with one hand towards a large glass cabinet in the center of the tent. You step forward and peer in through the glass. Inside there are piles of jewelry, books, gold, and other things, as well as a small, wiry creature curled up fast asleep. What is that creature? My little pet, Hannah explains. He's perfectly harmless. Well, he bites, but only when you open the cabinet to feed him. What do I do? It is a most simple game, Honest Hannah replies with glee. You give me 2 gold pieces, and then my little pet will fetch something for you. Interesting, but let's try casting a spell. What are my options? I can always back out, I think. M-A-G. Protect from magic. R-E-S? Resurrect the dead? No. R-A-P. Oh, talk all languages. Oh, I could probably strike up a conversation with a little pet. But I need a green-haired wig. Oh. T-E-L. Read. Read minds. Requires a skull cap. I have one. Let's try it. You put on the skull cap and quickly cast your spell. Hannah watches you with curiosity, but is not alarmed. And as you read his thoughts, you can see why. He is as honest as his name suggests, and he is not trying to trick you. The Cabinet of Fortune has some false prizes and some true ones, but it is not rigged. With the skull cap on, you catch one other strange thought in the room. What is that thought? You reach out for the new thoughts. The thoughts are resentful, strong, and clear. A prisoner to my idiot boy, it says. I told Sansis that any wizard would be able to protect himself. When I get out of here, I'm really going to kill that miserable Loreg. Noble or not, the boy too. What? No clue to who they're coming from. A prisoner to my idiot boy. I told Sansis that any wizard would be able to protect himself. So a name of a noble is Loreg. Okay, well, I think we have a name. Loreg. Alright, let's pay him. We'll play the game. You pay 2 gold pieces, and Hannah goes over to the cabinet and presses a small button on the side. It seems to operate a cantilevered spike which pokes the creature, who squeals, jumps from its perch, and begins fluttering around inside the case. The creature keeps flapping around inside. Eventually, the creature selects something from the prize pool, which it drops into a chute at the far side of the cabinet. You open the flap and remove a small leather pouch. You open it, and it seems to be empty. But a moment later, you find you are scratching your neck, behind your ears, up your arms. "Fleas," Hannah remarks. "I'll have the pouch back, though, if you don't mind." You scratch your armpit in reply and nod to Hannah, who laughs a little too loudly. Then you head back out of the tent. "I have fleas!" Ah! Really? You have fleas? Ah, Lord Loreg, added to clues. Alright, I have a name. Right, so I am now flea-ridden. Well, Kare has certainly raised an impression on me. Alright, so next time, ladies and gentlemen, I do believe we're going to enter content that not only have I never seen before, but I would have had no cause to ever seen before. I think I don't think I ever made it to this upper north half of the northwest side of the city. I don't think I ever made it up here, so from here on, the adventure will be all my own. Oh boy. I'm excited. I have had a lot of fun. Boy, sad that we never caught up with Thomas. I wonder if we'll meet him later, but we did see Flanker again, and he seems really nice. Man, so portal traps all over the east side of the city? Yeah, my god, wow, okay. Kare has been treating me kinda well. I entered with 34 gold, but now I have 50. As we enter into this north side, maybe we can stop by some really nice shops. It'd be great if I could find an even better sword, you know? But, I guess that's for next time. For now, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Sorcery. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please, take care.